It's Thursday night. We've got another 2-game NBA slate in addition to Thursday Night Football. So I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate for both a DraftKings and a FanDuel perspective using the Sims tool and the contest generator that we have here at Stokastic.com. If you guys could do me a favor as you're watching this, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you are looking to sign up for our NBA package, which includes absolutely everything you need to make money this NBA season, sign up using the link below. Promo code TIPOFF for 20% off. And this deal is only going to exist for the first week of the season. Next week, it's going to be gone. So we've been thinking about signing up. Now is the time to do it. So let's go ahead. I've already built out lineups here for DraftKings. You can do it for FanDuel after this. And if you want information for the NFL slate, I also have video for that posted on the YouTube channel. But if we go ahead here and first favor the top 150 lineups and look at my top lineup here, we have a lineup with a 243.8% sim ROI. So this is when all the lineups I built in the contest generator played against each other 40,000 times. Number one overall lineup, Damian Lillard, Eric Gordon, Josh Okogie, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Yusuf Nurkic, Jordan Goodwin, Paul Reed, Anthony Davis. This rated out as the number one overall lineup in this set. As far as lineups that are expected to be duped, we do have some duping that's going to be going on because it's a 2-game slate. This is expected to be the most popular lineup of the night. It is Goodwin, Maxey, Reeves, Durant, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Eric Gordon, Yusuf Nurkic. So that is your most duped lineup for DraftKings tonight. So probably a lineup you want to avoid unless you want to tie with a bunch of people. Exposures. So we'll go position by position, see what we're getting the most to at each spot. We'll be doing this for both FanDuel and DraftKings. So starting with point guard, we're getting the most exposure here to Jordan Goodwin. Ended up landing in 76% of my lineups. Now, he is expected to be right around 90% owned. This is a number that I do expect to go down a little bit closer to lock, but either way, Goodwin is going to be absolute chalk today and getting to a good amount of them, but this is a little bit less than the field, at least per the current field ownership projection. Also getting to a lot of DeAnthony Melton at point guard. He's going to be benefiting from the absence of James Harden. Who knows what the hell is going on between James Harden and the 76ers, but he was away from the team. He wanted to return for the opening of the season, and then they said to him, nah, stay home. We don't want anything to do with you. So he's still on the trade block there. In the interim, DeAnthony Melton makes a lot of sense as a cheap option to get to. Shooting guard. We're getting to the most of DeAnthony Melton, also a shooting guard eligibility, then coming in with a good amount of Eric Gordon and D'Angelo Russell, each of them in about half of my lineups. Although with that said, that does have us being a little bit underweight to the field because each of them are projected for north of 60% ownership, and then getting to a good amount of Austin Reeves and Grayson Allen as well, about 40% of each of them at the shooting guard spot. Small forwards. What are we getting to at small forward here? Okogie, getting to a ton of him, and I love Josh Okogie. He won me GPP on FanDuel for the first slate of the season, so hopefully he can do it again for me on a 2-game slate because it looks like we're going to be playing a good amount of Okogie today. We also have Eric Gordon and Austin Reeves, as well as Grayson Allen with the small forward eligibility, and then Taurean Prince showing up as somebody who's not projected for that much ownership, 18% that we're getting overweight to the field to at the small forward spot. Power forward, we're getting to Kevin Durant, who, for my money, favorite overall pay-up option on the slate. There's no Devin Booker expected to play, no Bradley Beal expected to play for the Suns. KD's going to have to do just about everything for the team. He's my favorite pay-up option on the slate, getting to him in 65% of lineups right now, although he is projected for 75% ownership at the moment. And then getting to Giannis here in 33% of lineups. So pay-up options at the power forward spot. And then what the hell did I just press on my computer? All right, let's do that again. Filters, center. Yeah, I'm trying to scan a QR code. I don't know what button I pressed to do that. Center getting to Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Yusuf Nurkic, all a good amount. Those are the 3 centers that I think make the most sense. And then you also have Giannis here as the power forward eligibility. So overall, for ranking the pay-up options on the slate, for me, it is going to be KD 1, Joel Embiid 2, Anthony Davis 3. And that's also the order of exposure that we got to here in the Sims tool. If we go ahead and go back and look at the just slate as a whole, who are we overweight to that's maybe a little bit lower owned? Taurean Prince not expected for that much ownership. Saban Lee is a pretty interesting contrarian play. Got to 7% of him in my lineups. And in lineups that don't have Goodwin, I do think Saban Lee makes sense as a leverage play because we assume Goodwin's going to be playing the bulk of the minutes with Beal and Booker both out, but that's not necessarily set in stone. And Saban Lee could be a guy that actually does play the backup point guard role as opposed to Goodwin If that's the case, Saban Lee at only 2% ownership does look like a pretty strong contrarian play. So getting overweight to the field on him. Let's go and build out lineups for FanDuel now, and we'll see what shows up for FanDuel. So, big contest on FanDuel. What is the payout structure? So I know when I'm running everything through the Sims, it is a $400,000 prize pool, $100,000 at first. A little bit smaller contest today, which is a couple things. Number one, only a 2-game slate, but then also competing with the Thursday night football. So 25% at first. We'll sim out the FanDuel lineups now and see what ends up looking good over there. Pricing's a little bit better on FanDuel today than it is on DK. DK has some players who are just egregiously underpriced, which we've seen a good amount of from DK so far to open up the year. But I'm curious to see what we're going to be getting to on FanDuel, where it's a little bit fair in terms of the price point. Somebody like Giannis is $12,000 over on FanDuel. Got Dame is more expensive on FanDuel. Anthony Davis, who's $8,900 on DK. He's $10,600, something like that on FanDuel. So it definitely alters how often you play those stars and scrubs types lineups, which are coming up a ton for us on DK. We'll find out in a few seconds here what is standing out the most on FanDuel. And it is 10-3, by the way, is the price point on Anthony Davis. My least favorite pay-up option on the slate tonight is LeBron James. He only played 29 minutes in the Lakers' first game of the season. And we heard from Darvin Ham, Lakers coach, after the game. That's more or less the plan with LeBron in the short term, is they are only planning to play him right around 30 minutes, trying to keep him fresh down the stretch of the season for a playoff run. And we know at this point in LeBron's career, injuries have been an issue at times. They've always been an issue for AD, but a lot of those are not preventable. I do think the Lakers, by limiting some of the playing time of LeBron, have a better chance of keeping him healthy, and seems to be what the team is going to be doing. So if LeBron is truly only going to be playing in the neighborhood of 28 to 30 minutes per game, it's really hard to imagine that he has an immense upside, especially on a slate that has Giannis, has Kevin Durant without Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, also has Joel Embiid without James Harden. Here we go. All right. Favorite the top 150 on FanDuel. And here's what we're getting to here. Number one overall projected lineup by Sim ROI. In the point guard spots, we have Dame and D'Lo. Shooting guards, DeAnthony Melton and Eric Gordon. Josh Okogie, Grayson Allen. Kevin Durant, Rui Hachimura, Joel Embiid. Rui's another player I think you can make an interesting case for as a contrarian option. We saw his playing time get jerked around a lot in the playoffs last year, and a lot of it was dependent on how well is he playing in the game, how well did he play last game. And I don't think that just because we saw Rui play minutes in the teens in the opening game of the season means that he has to play minutes in the teens every game. If he comes into the game and he makes shots in the same way that like Taurean Prince did on opening night, I think we could see 30-plus minutes out of Rui. So anyway, this is a lineup that by far is projecting the best out of our FanDuel lineups. Lineup that is expected to be duped the most today. Not as many dupes on FanDuel as there were on DK, but D'Lo, Goodwin, Melton, Gordon, Durant, Grayson Allen, Giannis, Anthony Davis, Paul Reed. That is the lineup that is expected to have the most dupes on FanDuel. Exposures, do the same deal going position by position, starting with point guard and see what we're getting to there. So at the point guard over on FanDuel, we are getting to Jordan Goodwin in 74% of lineups. He is projected for 83% ownership, though. So we'll see what that number ends up looking closer to lock. As of right now, Goodwin looks like massive chalk on both FanDuel and DK. Getting overweight to the field here on DeAnthony Melton. Same deal as over on DK. Really benefits from the absence of James Harden, one of the better cheap plays on the slate. And getting overweight to Damian Lillard as well, who is not going to have quite the same role with the Bucks that he had with Portland. I assume we're going to see less usage going to him. Now, with that said, though, he's way priced down for that, both DraftKings and FanDuel, which makes Dame somebody to get to, even if his points per minute production won't be the same this year. Shooting guards. Shooting guards, we're getting to a bunch of Okogie. Same deal as over on DK, getting to a lot of Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen in 3/4 of lineups. So Grayson Allen, shooting guard and small forward eligibility is also sub 4K on FanDuel. So he's too cheap there. One of the better value plays on the slate. Like how much we're getting to him. And then same deal, a lot of DeAnthony Melton. Actually getting to more of Melton than Maxey. Maxey in about a third of our lineups, but the field is playing him nearly 50%. So underweight to the field on Maxey here, even though he is somebody who projects really well, just a little bit too popular. Small forward, 73% of Kevin Durant, Tobias Harris, he's a better play on FanDuel than he is on DK because of his small forward and power forward eligibility on FanDuel. Us having to play 2 of each of them on the site. So Tobias Harris, I think, is a pretty good-looking small forward, power forward option. And if you're going to be contrarian on FanDuel, Kelly Oubre going to be coming off the bench for the Sixers. A little bit cheaper on FanDuel than DK. Worth getting exposure to him on FanDuel. Power forward. Who are we getting to the most at the power forward spot? AD followed by AD, then Tobias Harris. Christian Wood popping up as a contrarian play. And then another really contrarian play. We do have a few lineups with Jay Crowder, who's only projected for 4.7% ownership. And now finally rounding it out with the center spot where we have Joel Embiid dominating the center exposure. We do have exposure here to Anthony Davis and Christian Wood, but those guys have power forward and center eligibility. Of the players that are center only, Joel Embiid is the only one we're really getting a significant amount of exposure to. And in fact, the only player who's center eligible only that we're even overweight to the field to. Yusuf Nurkic looks like a really good play on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, he's $7,900. Does make it a little bit difficult to pay up for him. So that is a breakdown of everything for tonight's 2-game FanDuel and DraftKings slate. A little bit of an overview using the contest generator and the Sims tool. If you guys like these tools, they've been really helpful for me, helping me increase my ROI in DFS contests. Sign up using that link below. Promo code TIPOFF, 20% off. It's the only time you guys are going to be able to get that offer at the start of the season, so take advantage of it now. Good luck, guys, and enjoy the games tonight.